I remember the exact moment my life split into before and after. It wasn't the day I gave birth to my daughter, though that certainly qualified as life-changing. It wasn't my wedding day, or the day I lost my mother, or even the morning I woke up to find my husband had packed his bags and left without a word. No, the real dividing line came on a Tuesday afternoon in September, when I answered my front door to find a young woman standing on my porch with my face. Not exactly my face, of course. She was younger, 20 years younger to be precise, with clearer skin and brighter eyes than I'd had in decades. But the resemblance was undeniable. The same sharp chin, the same widow's peak that made our hairlines come to a distinct point in the center of our foreheads. The same slightly crooked nose that bent just barely to the left, as if it had been broken once and healed imperfectly, though mine never had been. "Mrs. Patricia Hartwell?" she asked, her voice uncertain but hopeful. I stood in the doorway of my modest Columbus, Ohio home, one hand still gripping the doorknob, the other instinctively moving to my chest as if I could physically hold my heart in place. "Yes, my name is Maya Sullivan," she said, and then paused, swallowing hard. "I think you might be my biological mother." The world tilted sideways. I reached out to steady myself against the doorframe, my mind racing through impossibilities. I had one daughter, Emma, who was currently at Ohio State University, probably sitting in some lecture hall or coffee shop, completely unaware that her mother's reality was fracturing into pieces. "I'm sorry," I managed to say, though my voice sounded distant to my own ears. "There must be some mistake." Maya's face fell, but she didn't move from my porch. She clutched a manila folder against her chest like a shield. "I know this must be a shock. I'm sorry to just show up like this, but I hired a private investigator, and I had a DNA test done through one of those ancestry websites, and it all led back to you. I have documentation, if you want to see it." I should have closed the door. I should have told her she had the wrong person, that she needed to leave, that I would call the police if she didn't. Instead, I heard myself say, "Would you like to come in?" She nodded, relief washing over her features, and I stepped aside to let her pass. As she walked into my living room, I caught a whiff of her perfume, something floral and young, and I felt 20 years peel away from my bones. I was 32 again, lying in a hospital bed at Riverside Medical Center, exhausted and elated, holding a tiny pink bundle that the nurses had just placed in my arms. "Your daughter," they'd said. "Congratulations, Mrs. Hartwell." I'd counted her fingers and toes. I'd marveled at her perfect little face, her rosebud mouth, the way she'd gripped my finger with surprising strength. My daughter, mine and David's, though David had spent most of those first crucial hours on his phone, stepping out to take calls about some crisis at work that couldn't possibly wait. Maya sat on my couch, perched on the edge as if ready to flee at any moment. I took the armchair across from her, my legs suddenly too weak to be trusted. We stared at each other for a long moment, and I could see her cataloging our similarities, just as I was cataloging hers. The same full lips, the same long fingers, the same way of tilting our heads slightly to the right when uncertain. "Tell me," I said finally, because someone had to break the silence. "Tell me everything." She opened the manila folder with trembling hands. Inside were printouts, medical records, DNA test results, photocopies of birth certificates. "I was born on March 15, 2005 at Riverside Medical Center," she began. "My parents, the people who raised me, are Barbara and Thomas Sullivan. They're good people. The best people, actually. I love them very much. I noticed the way she emphasized this, as if she needed me to know that she wasn't here to replace them or diminish them in any way. I appreciated that, though my mind was still struggling to process what she was telling me. A few months ago, my mom, Barbara, needed a kidney transplant. I wanted to donate, obviously. We did all the testing, and that's when we discovered that I wasn't a match. Not just not a perfect match, but not any kind of match at all, which led to more testing. And then we discovered that neither she nor my dad were my biological parents. Her voice cracked on the last words, and I saw the pain flash across her face. I wanted to reach out to her, to comfort her somehow, but I remained frozen in my chair. At first, they thought there might have been an affair, but my mom swore there wasn't, and I believed her. My parents, they've always been solid. So we started digging, and we found out there had been problems at Riverside Medical around the time I was born. Budget cuts, understaffing, that kind of thing. And there were 2 other babies born that same day, in the same ward, at almost the same time. My mouth went dry. "Emma," I whispered. Maya nodded. "Emma Grace Hartwell, born March 15th, 2005, at 6:47 a.m. I was born at 6:52 a.m. There was another girl too, born at 6:55, but she died of SIDS when she was 4 months old." I felt tears beginning to form, hot and unwelcome. Emma had been born at exactly 6:47 a.m. I remembered looking at the clock on the wall, remembered thinking how neat and perfect that time was, how easy it would be to remember. March 15th at 6:47 a.m., the moment my daughter came into the world, except maybe she hadn't been my daughter at all. "The DNA test," Maya continued, pulling out several pages of dense scientific text and charts. "I paid for one of the advanced ones that can identify biological relatives, and you came up as my mother. 99.9% certainty." I took the papers from her with numb fingers, though I couldn't make sense of the numbers and graphs swimming before my eyes. "This isn't possible," I said, but even as I spoke the words, I knew they were true. I could see myself in Maya's face, in the way she moved, in the nervous habit she had of tucking her hair behind her left ear, the same habit I'd had at her age. "I know this is overwhelming," Maya said softly. "Believe me, I've had a few months to process it, and I'm still not okay. But I needed to meet you. I needed to know where I came from. Who I came from. Does Emma know?" The question came out sharper than I'd intended. "Have you contacted her?" Maya shook her head quickly. "No, I found her on social media. It wasn't hard. We have mutual friends somehow, which is kind of weird, but I haven't reached out. I wanted to talk to you first. I figured this was your news to share with her, not mine." I appreciated the consideration, though it did nothing to ease the panic rising in my chest. How was I supposed to tell Emma that she might not be my biological daughter? That the girl sitting on our couch could be? And what about the Sullivans? Were they going through this same nightmare right now? Wondering if their daughter had gone to meet her biological mother? "Tell me about your parents," I said, because I needed to know who had raised my biological child, if that's what Maya truly was. Maya's face brightened immediately, love evident in every feature. "They're amazing. My dad's a high school history teacher, and my mom runs a small bookstore in Cincinnati. They're kind and funny, and they've given me everything. They paid for my college. I just graduated from University of Cincinnati last spring, and they've always supported whatever I wanted to do. They're devastated about all this, obviously, but they told me they'd support whatever I needed to do, including finding you. Cincinnati, less than 2 hours away from Columbus, and yet we'd lived parallel lives for 20 years, never crossing paths. I thought about all the times Emma and I had driven through Cincinnati on our way to somewhere else. Had I passed Maya on the street without knowing it? Had she been in the same store or restaurant, close enough to touch? "What do you study?" I asked, trying to focus on something concrete, something that didn't make my head spin. "English literature," Maya said. "I want to be a writer. Fiction, probably, though I've been playing around with some personal essays lately." "What about Emma? What does she study?" "Pre-law," I said automatically, then felt strange about it. Emma had always been determined to be a lawyer like her father had been before he left us. She was driven, ambitious, sometimes to the point of obsession. We'd had countless arguments about her refusing to slow down, to enjoy her college experience instead of treating it like the first step in some master plan for world domination. Had I pushed her into that? Or was it something inherent in who she was, something that came from David's genes rather than mine? And if Maya was my biological daughter, did that explain why Emma and I had always seemed slightly out of sync? Like two instruments playing in almost but not quite the same key? "I need to call her," I said, standing abruptly. "I need to tell her." Maya stood too, alarm crossing her face. "Right now? Are you sure? Maybe you should take some time to process this first. Talk to a lawyer or a therapist or something." She was right, of course. This wasn't the kind of news you delivered over the phone, especially not to your daughter in the middle of her college semester. But I couldn't sit still. Couldn't stay in this room with this girl who wore my face and claimed to be mine while my actual daughter was across town, unaware that her entire identity was in question. "I'm sorry," I said. And I meant it for so many things. Sorry for the confusion. Sorry for the pain. Sorry for whatever cosmic mistake had led us to this moment. I need some time. This is a lot. Maya nodded, understanding in her eyes. She pulled out a piece of paper and wrote something on it. "This is my phone number and email. And my address if you want it. No pressure, Mrs. Hartwell. I know this is huge. Take whatever time you need. I'm glad I got to meet you." She started toward the door, and I followed her, my mind racing. At the threshold, she turned back, to me, and I saw tears in her eyes that mirrored my own. "For what it's worth," she said quietly, "I think you seem like a really good person. And I'm glad I got your genes, or biology, or whatever, even if it's all really messed up." Then she was gone, walking down my front path to a small blue Honda parked on the street. I watched her drive away, then closed the door and leaned against it, finally allowing myself to break down. I don't know how long I stood there crying, but eventually my phone rang. It was Emma, calling from campus like she did most Tuesday afternoons between her classes. "Hey, Mom," she said, her voice bright and cheerful. "Just calling to check in. How's your day going?" I almost told her. The words were right there, crowding against my teeth, desperate to get out. But I swallowed them down and forced my voice to sound normal. "Fine, sweetie. How was your constitutional law class?" She launched into an enthusiastic description of some case they'd discussed, and I listened with half my attention, while the other half spiraled through the implications of what I'd just learned. When she finally paused for breath, I heard myself say, "Emma, what would you say to coming home for dinner this weekend? I need to talk to you about something. Is everything okay?" Concern immediately colored her tone. "Are you sick? Is it Grandma?" "No, nothing like that. I miss you, and I'd like to see you. Maybe Saturday?" "Sure, Mom. I'll be there. You're kind of freaking me out, though." "It's nothing bad," I lied. "I'll make your favorite, lasagna." After we hung up, I stood in my silent house and wondered how I'd gotten here. Life had seemed so straightforward 20 years ago. I'd married David right out of college, both of us young and in love and convinced we could handle anything. We'd bought this house with its 3 bedrooms and white picket fence, already imagining the children we'd fill it with. When I'd gotten pregnant, it had felt like everything was falling perfectly into place. But perfection is an illusion, I'd learned. David's work had consumed him more and more, until there was nothing left for us. Emma had been a colicky baby, crying for hours every night while I paced the floors alone because David was at the office. As she grew, she became intense and driven in ways I didn't quite understand. We loved each other, of course, but there was always this sense that we were speaking different languages, that some fundamental connection between us required constant translation. I'd blamed it on normal mother-daughter friction, on David leaving when Emma was 12, which had been traumatic for both of us, on my own shortcomings as a parent. It had never occurred to me that the disconnect might be because she literally wasn't mine. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed scrolling through photos on my phone, examining Emma's face for any sign of me. She had David's blue eyes, his strong jaw, his thick dark hair. I'd always assumed she'd gotten his dominant genes, that my features had simply been recessive. But now I looked at her and saw a stranger's child, a Sullivan child probably, raised by me, loved by me, but not born from me, and Maya. Maya with my hazel eyes and auburn hair and crooked smile. Maya who wanted to be a writer, just like I'd wanted to be before practical concerns and single motherhood had pushed me into my current job managing a medical supply company. Maya who tucked her hair behind her left ear and tilted her head when she was nervous. I pulled up the Ancestry website she'd mentioned and created an account. If she could find me, maybe I could confirm it somehow. The testing kit would take weeks to arrive and process, but I needed to know for certain. I needed scientific proof, not just a resemblance and a gut feeling. The next few days passed in a haze. I went to work, smiled at my colleagues, attended meetings about inventory and distribution, all while feeling like I was watching my life from outside my body. I kept Maya's contact information in my wallet, pulling it out periodically to make sure I hadn't imagined the whole thing. On Wednesday, I called Riverside Medical Center and asked about their records from March 2005. The woman on the phone was polite but firm. They couldn't release patient information without a court order. I contacted a lawyer, an old friend from high school who specialized in family law. When I explained the situation, there was a long silence on her end of the line. "Patricia," she said finally, "this is complicated. If what you're saying is true, there are multiple parties involved, multiple families whose lives would be affected. You need to be very careful about how you proceed. I just want to know the truth, I told her. The truth is going to hurt people, she replied, not unkindly. You need to prepare yourself for that. Saturday arrived too quickly. I spent the morning cooking lasagna, making garlic bread, preparing all of Emma's favorite foods as if carbohydrates could somehow cushion the blow I was about to deliver. She arrived at noon, letting herself in with her key, calling out, "Mom, something smells amazing." She found me in the kitchen, and I pulled her into a tight hug, breathing in the familiar scent of her shampoo. My daughter, the girl I'd raised, regardless of biology, but I felt the gulf between us, the one that had always been there, and wondered if she felt it too. "Okay, you're definitely freaking me out now," Emma said, pulling back to look at me. "What's going on?" I gestured to the kitchen table, where I'd set out 2 plates and a bottle of wine. "Let's eat first, then we'll talk." Emma looked skeptical but sat down. We made small talk through lunch, her classes, her plans for law school, the guy she'd been seeing casually but didn't think was going anywhere serious. I memorized her expressions, the way she gestured with her fork when she got excited about something, the little crinkle between her eyebrows when she concentrated. Finally, when the plates were cleared and we each had a glass of wine, Emma set down her glass with a decisive clink. "Okay, Mom. Enough stalling. What did you need to tell me?" I took a deep breath. Last Tuesday, a young woman came to the house. Her name is Maya Sullivan, and she's 20 years old. She was born at Riverside Medical Center on March 15th, 2005, at 6:52 a.m. I paused, watching Emma's face. 5 minutes after you were born. Emma's expression didn't change immediately. She was processing, trying to understand where I was going with this. "Okay," she said slowly. And she hired a private investigator and did a DNA test. And according to her results, I'm her biological mother. The words hung in the air between us. I watched understanding dawn on Emma's face, followed immediately by denial, then confusion, then something that looked like anger. "That's ridiculous," she said, but her voice was uncertain. "That's impossible." There were problems at the hospital. That year, I continued, forcing myself to stay calm. Understaffing, budget issues, and there were 3 babies born in the same ward within 8 minutes of each other. "So what are you saying?" Emma demanded, standing up abruptly. Her chair scraped against the floor with a harsh sound. "That I'm not your daughter? That there was some kind of mix-up?" "I'm saying I don't know," I said, and my voice broke. "I'm saying that this girl showed up with evidence, and she looks like me, Emma. She looks exactly like I did at her age. And you've always looked like your father." Emma stared at me, her face pale. "I can't believe you're telling me this. I can't believe you're actually suggesting that I'm not yours." "You'll always be mine," I said fiercely, standing to face her. "You're my daughter, Emma. You're the girl I raised, the one I stayed up with all night when you were sick, the one I taught to ride a bike and helped with homework, and drove to soccer practice. Nothing changes that. Everything changes that," Emma shouted. If what you're saying is true, then my entire life is a lie. Then I'm not who I thought I was. You're exactly who you've always been, I insisted, reaching for her, but she stepped back. I need to leave, she said, grabbing her purse from the counter. I can't do this right now. Emma, please, I'll call you later, she said. And then she was gone, the front door slamming behind her with a finality that made me flinch. I sank back into my chair and put my head in my hands. That had gone exactly as badly as I'd feared. But what had I expected? How was anyone supposed to react to news like this? My phone buzzed with a text. For a moment I hoped it was Emma, but it was from a number I didn't recognize. Then I realized Maya must have saved my number from caller ID when she'd first called. The message was simple. Hi, Mrs. Hartwell. Just wanted to check in and see how you're doing. No pressure to respond. Take care of yourself. I stared at the message for a long time before typing back. I told Emma. It didn't go well. The reply came quickly. I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do? I almost said no, but then I found myself typing. Would you want to meet for coffee sometime this week? I'd love that. Just let me know when and where. We made plans to meet on Tuesday at a small cafe downtown, neutral territory where neither of us had history. I spent the intervening days in a state of anxious anticipation, jumping every time my phone rang, hoping it would be Emma calling to talk things through. But she stayed silent, and I didn't want to push her. Maya was already at the cafe when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee. She stood when she saw me, uncertain whether to hug me or shake my hand. We settled for an awkward half embrace that made us both laugh nervously. I got you a latte, she said, gesturing to one of the cups. I didn't know how you take your coffee, so I just got what I usually get. If you don't like it, I can get you something else. It's perfect, I assured her, sitting down across from her. Thank you. We sipped our coffee in silence for a moment, both of us unsure how to begin. Finally, Maya spoke. How is Emma? Is she okay? I don't know, I admitted. She left pretty upset, and she hasn't returned any of my calls or texts since Saturday. I'm trying to give her space, but it's hard. Maya nodded sympathetically. I can't imagine how she must feel. This whole thing is insane. Sometimes I wake up and think I dreamed it all. Tell me more about yourself, I said, because I needed to know her, needed to understand who this girl was. What was your childhood like? Over the next hour, Maya painted a picture of a life that was both familiar and foreign to me. She'd grown up in a small house in Cincinnati with parents who loved her fiercely. She'd been a good student, quiet and bookish, more comfortable with words on a page than people in person. She'd had a few close friends rather than a large social circle. She'd struggled with anxiety in high school, had gone to therapy for a while, had eventually found her footing in college where she'd discovered her passion for creative writing. I saw myself in so many of her stories. The anxiety, the love of reading, the preference for small groups over large parties. These were all things I'd experienced. All traits I'd assumed Emma would inherit from me but never had. Emma was confident and outgoing, the captain of her debate team, someone who thrived on competition and challenge. What about Emma? Maya asked. What was she like growing up? I tried to be fair, to paint an accurate picture. Driven, I said. From the time she was little, she knew what she wanted and went after it. She was student council president, valedictorian of her high school, She doesn't do anything halfway. It's admirable, but sometimes I worry she pushes herself too hard. Do you two get along? Maya asked carefully. We do, I said, then reconsidered. We did. I mean, we've always had our tensions, the way mothers and daughters do. But I love her more than anything in this world. My voice caught. I'm terrified I'm going to lose her over this. Maya reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You won't. She might need time, but you're her mom. You raised her. That counts for something. That counts for everything. I keep thinking about what might have been, I confessed. If you'd been the baby they handed me that day, if Emma had gone home with the Sullivans, would our lives have been completely different? Would I have raised a writer instead of a lawyer? Would you have become someone else entirely? I think about that too, Maya admitted. But I also think that who we are isn't just about genetics. My parents shaped me just as much as any DNA did. They taught me to love books, to think critically, to be kind. Your genes might have given me some tendencies, but the Sullivans made me who I am. You're very wise for 20, I said, smiling despite the sadness. I have good parents, she replied, both sets apparently. We talked for another hour, until the cafe started to fill with the after-work crowd, and we realized how much time had passed. As we stood to leave, Maya hesitated. Would it be okay if I hugged you? She asked. Like a real hug? I opened my arms and she stepped into them. She was exactly my height, and her head fit perfectly against my shoulder. I felt something shift inside me, some ancient maternal recognition that had nothing to do with logic or test results. This was my child, maybe not the one I'd raised, but mine nonetheless. Thank you for giving me a chance, Maya whispered. Thank you for finding me, I whispered back. Over the next few weeks, Maya and I fell into a pattern of meeting for coffee once a week. She told me about her writing, and I told her about my own abandoned dreams of being a novelist. She showed me short stories she'd written, and I was amazed by her talent, her ability to capture human emotion on the page in ways I'd never been able to. But Emma still wasn't speaking to me. She'd sent a single text after a week. I need more time. Please respect that. And then silence. I tried to be patient, tried to give her the space she needed, but it was agony. I drove past her apartment twice, fighting the urge to knock on her door. I drafted 100 text messages that I never sent. Then, 6 weeks after Maya had first appeared on my doorstep, I got a call from Barbara Sullivan. Mrs. Hartwell? A voice said when I answered. My name is Barbara Sullivan. I'm Maya's mother. Her adoptive mother, I suppose we'd say now. I was hoping we could talk. My heart raced. Of course. Is everything okay? Is Maya all right? Maya's fine, Barbara assured me. I actually wanted to talk about Emma. Emma? I couldn't hide my surprise. Have you spoken with her? She showed up at our bookstore yesterday, Barbara said. She found us the same way Maya found you, I imagine. She wanted to meet us, to understand where she came from, if the DNA tests confirm what we all suspect. I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Relief that Emma was taking steps to deal with this, hurt that she'd gone to the Sullivans instead of talking to me, curiosity about what they'd discussed. How did it go? I asked. She's a remarkable young woman, Barbara said warmly. Intense, focused, very different from Maya in a lot of ways. She asked us about our family history, our values, what kind of parents we'd been to Maya. I think she was trying to figure out who she might have been if she'd grown up with us. And what did you tell her? I told her that we're teachers of children, not creators of them, Barbara said. That Maya became who she is through a combination of nature and nurture, and the same is true for Emma. I told her that you clearly raised an incredible daughter, and that should count for more than any genetic connection. Tears streamed down my face. Thank you, I managed to say. Mrs. Hartwell, Patricia, if I may, I want you to know that Maya thinks the world of you. She comes home from your coffee dates glowing. She tells me about your conversations, about how much you have in common, and I'm grateful to you, truly grateful for giving her that connection. It's helped her process all of this in a healthy way. She's an amazing person, I said. You and your husband did an incredible job raising her. And you did an incredible job raising Emma, Barbara replied. Which is why I'm calling. I think the four of us should meet. You, me, Emma, and Maya. We need to talk about how to move forward, how to handle this situation in a way that's healthy for everyone involved. Emma won't even speak to me right now, I said. She will, Barbara said confidently. She's angry and scared, but she loves you. Give her a little more time, and then I think we should all sit down together. No lawyers, no doctors, just four women trying to navigate an impossible situation. We set a tentative date for the following week, pending Emma's agreement. True to Barbara's prediction, Emma called me 2 days later. Mom, her voice was small, younger than I'd heard it in years. Can I come over? Of course, sweetie. Anytime. She arrived an hour later, her eyes red from crying. We sat on the couch together, and she immediately collapsed against me, sobbing into my shoulder the way she hadn't since she was a little girl. I'm so sorry, she cried. I'm so sorry I ran away. I'm so sorry I haven't called. Shh, I soothed, stroking her hair. You don't have anything to apologize for. This is hard. This is the hardest thing any of us have ever dealt with. I met them, she said, pulling back to look at me. The Sullivans. They're nice. They're really nice. And their bookstore is amazing. And I kept thinking about how different my life would have been if I'd grown up there. Do you wish you had? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. No, Emma said immediately, fiercely. No, Mom, you're my mother. You're the one who taught me to stand up for myself, to fight for what I believe in, to never settle for less than I deserve. The Sullivans are wonderful, but they didn't raise me. You did. Relief flooded through me so intensely I thought I might pass out. You're my daughter, I said. You'll always be my daughter, no matter what any test says. I want to do the DNA test, Emma said. I need to know for sure. But Mom, even if it turns out that we're not biologically related, it doesn't change anything between us. Okay? I need you to know that. Okay, I whispered, hugging her tightly. I want to meet Maya too, Emma continued. I've looked at her social media and she seems cool. And if she's your biological daughter, then I guess she's kind of my sister, in a weird way. And if I'm the Sullivans' biological daughter, then I'm her sister that way too. I laughed through my tears. That's a very mature way of looking at it. I'm 20 years old. Mom, I'm allowed to be mature sometimes. The following week, the four of us, me, Emma, Maya, and Barbara, met at a small restaurant halfway between Columbus and Cincinnati. Thomas Sullivan had wanted to come, but Barbara thought it would be better to keep it small, at least for this first meeting. We could always expand the circle later. I watched as Emma and Maya met for the first time, saw them shake hands awkwardly, then look at each other with open curiosity. They didn't look alike at all. Emma with her dark hair and blue eyes, tall and commanding. Maya with her auburn hair and hazel eyes, shorter and softer around the edges. But they were both my daughters, in their own ways. Barbara Sullivan was exactly as I'd imagined. Warm and kind, with laugh lines around her eyes, and flour dusted on her jeans from the bakery next to her bookstore. She hugged me like we were old friends, and I felt some of the tension leave my shoulders. We ordered food none of us ate and talked for hours. About the hospital, about the investigation Maya's private investigator had conducted, about the logistics of DNA testing and what it would mean for all of us, about fears and hopes and the strange situation we found ourselves in. "I think we need to establish some ground rules," Barbara said at one point. "This situation is unprecedented, but that doesn't mean we can't handle it with grace. Maya has 2 mothers now, and Emma might too. That's not a competition. There's enough love to go around." "I agree," I said, looking at Emma to make sure she was comfortable with this. She nodded. "I don't want to intrude on anyone's life," Maya said quietly. "I just wanted to know where I came from. I wasn't trying to blow up 2 families." "You didn't blow up anything," Emma said, surprising us all. "If anything, you've kind of added to them. Like, I get a bonus sister out of this deal, which is actually pretty cool. I always wanted a sibling." Maya smiled, and I saw the beginning of something fragile but real forming between them. The DNA tests were done the following week. Emma and I both gave samples, as did Maya. Barbara and Thomas Sullivan did as well, though we all knew what the results would show. It was just a matter of making it official, of having scientific confirmation of what our hearts and our faces already told us. The results came back 3 weeks later, and they confirmed what we'd suspected. Maya Sullivan was my biological daughter. Emma Grace Hartwell was Barbara and Thomas Sullivan's biological daughter. 20 years ago, in the chaos of an understaffed hospital ward, 2 babies had been switched, and 2 families had raised each other's children without ever knowing. I sat with the results in my hands, reading them over and over, and felt the full weight of what had been lost and what had been gained. I'd missed Maya's first steps, her first words, her first day of school. I'd never known her as a baby or a toddler or a teenager. 20 years we'd lost, years we could never get back. But I'd had Emma. I'd had her terrible 2s and her awkward middle school years and her triumphant high school graduation. I'd been there for her first heartbreak and her college acceptance letters. I'd raised a strong, brilliant, determined young woman who I was incredibly proud of, even if she didn't share my DNA. And Barbara and Thomas Sullivan had raised Maya, had given her a love of literature and a gentle spirit, and the courage to go searching for her biological mother, even when it might have hurt them. They'd done an extraordinary job, and I would be forever grateful to them. The 6 of us, me, Emma, Maya, Barbara, Thomas, and even David, who Emma had insisted on involving despite our divorce, met with lawyers and therapists to figure out how to move forward. There were legal considerations, inheritance questions, medical history concerns, but more than that, there were emotional landscapes to navigate. Emma started spending time with the Sullivans, visiting their bookstore, having dinner at their house. She seemed lighter afterward, as if learning about her genetic background had filled in some blank spaces she hadn't known were there. She told me about Thomas's passion for history, Barbara's collection of first edition novels, the way their house smelled like coffee and old books. "They're not replacing you," she assured me once when I asked how it was going. "But they are important to me now." "Is that okay?" "Of course it's okay," I told her, even though a small petty part of me was jealous. "I'm glad you're getting to know them." Maya and I continued our weekly coffee dates, but we expanded to include dinners sometimes, and a few times she stayed over in my guest room. We cooked together, discovering that we had the same habit of tasting everything constantly while we prepared food, the same preference for slightly burnt edges on chocolate chip cookies. She brought me her writing to read, and I gave her honest feedback, marveling at her talent and wondering if I'd had that same gift buried inside me all along, unexpressed because life had pushed me in different directions. One evening, about 4 months after Maya had first knocked on my door, I found myself hosting an impromptu dinner party. Emma and Maya were both there, along with Barbara and Maya Sullivan. David had declined, still uncomfortable with the whole situation, but that was okay. This wasn't about him. I watched Emma and Maya setting the table together, laughing about something on Maya's phone. They'd developed an easy friendship that surprised all of us. Emma had started reading Maya's writing and giving her advice on potential literary agents. Maya had helped Emma study for the LSAT, creating elaborate flashcards with creative mnemonics that only a writer would think of. "They're good together," Barbara said, coming to stand beside me in the kitchen. "I worried they might resent each other, but they've really connected." "They have," I agreed. "It's probably the best thing to come out of this whole mess." Barbara smiled. "I don't think it's a mess anymore. I think it's just a different kind of family." She was right. Over the next year, we all learned to navigate our new reality. Emma applied to law schools and got into her top choice at Georgetown. Maya got her first short story published in a prestigious literary magazine. The Sullivans expanded their bookstore, and I helped them with the business planning, discovering I had a knack for it. We celebrated holidays together now, all 6 of us when David wasn't involved. It was chaotic and sometimes awkward, but it was also full of laughter and love. Emma would argue passionately about some legal case with Thomas, while Barbara and Maya discussed books. I'd find myself in the kitchen with whoever wandered in, cooking and talking about nothing and everything, but there were hard moments too. Times when I'd see Barbara hug Emma and feel a stab of jealous pain, wondering if she was thinking about all the years she'd missed with her biological daughter. Times when Maya would mention a childhood memory with the Sullivans, and I'd feel the weight of everything I hadn't been there for. One afternoon, about 18 months after this all began, Emma came to visit me alone. She'd graduated from Ohio State and was preparing to move to Washington, D.C. for law school. We sat on my back porch with iced tea, watching the sun slowly set over my small yard. "I've been thinking a lot about identity lately," Emma said suddenly, "about who we are versus who we're supposed to be." "Heavy thoughts for a summer evening," I said lightly. But I gave her my full attention. "The thing is," Emma continued, "I used to think I knew exactly who I was. Emma Hartwell, your daughter, future lawyer, driven and ambitious because that's just who I am. But now I know about the Sullivans, about their genes running through me, and I keep wondering, how much of who I am came from you and Dad raising me, and how much is just biological programming? Does it matter?" I asked gently. "I don't know. Maybe not. But I look at Maya, and she's so much like you in ways I never was. The writing, the anxiety, the way she overthinks everything. And I wonder if I would have been more like her if I'd grown up with you knowing we were biologically related. or if she would have been more like me if she'd been raised by you. I think you would have both been exactly who you are, I said. Maya is who she is because of a complex combination of genetics, environment, and her own choices. The same is true for you. The Sullivans might have given you certain predispositions, but I like to think I had a hand in making you the incredible person you became. Emma was quiet for a moment, then reached over and took my hand. You had more than a hand in it, Mom. You were everything. You still are. Moving to DC is terrifying because it means leaving you, and you've been my constant my whole life. Tears pricked my eyes. You're not leaving me. You're just starting your own adventure, and I'll be here whenever you need me. I know, Emma said, but it made me think about something. I want to change my last name. Legally, I mean, my heart clenched. To Sullivan? I tried to keep my voice neutral, tried not to let her hear the pain in it. No, Emma said, and I looked at her in surprise. I want to be Emma Hartwell Sullivan. Both names, because both families made me who I am. But you're the one who raised me. Your name comes first. I couldn't speak for a moment, overwhelmed by gratitude and love. Are you sure? What do the Sullivans think? Barbara cried when I told her, Emma admitted. But in a good way. She said it was perfect, that it honored everyone. And Thomas made some joke about how I'd have the longest signature when I become a famous lawyer. I love it, I said, pulling her into a hug. I love you. I love you too, Mom. That fall, Emma moved to DC, and Maya moved into my guest room while she worked on her first novel and saved money from her job at a local magazine. It was strange having her there, this young woman who was my daughter but whom I was still getting to know, but it was also wonderful in ways I hadn't expected. We fell into routines. She'd write in the mornings while I worked from home, and we'd break for lunch together, talking about her characters or my work projects. In the evenings, we'd cook dinner and watch old movies, or she'd read her latest pages out loud while I listened and offered feedback. Do you ever regret it? Maya asked one night as we did dishes together. Finding out about me, I mean. Your life would be simpler if I'd never shown up on your doorstep. I turned to look at her fully. Maya, meeting you has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. Yes, it was complicated and painful and turned everything upside down, but I got to know my biological daughter. I got to see the person you became, and I'm so proud of you. I wouldn't trade that for anything. Even though you missed my whole childhood? Her voice was small, vulnerable. Even though, I confirmed. Because the Sullivans gave you a beautiful childhood, one I might not have been able to give you. And now I get to know the person who emerged from that childhood, which is pretty amazing. She hugged me then, and I realized how natural these embraces had become, how much she'd come to feel like my daughter in the everyday sense, not just the biological one. Emma came home for Thanksgiving that year, and we had a massive celebration with both families. David even showed up briefly, though he was clearly uncomfortable with the whole arrangement. But the rest of us had found our rhythm. Thomas and I debated politics while Barbara and Maya planned a book club. Emma held court telling stories about her law school adventures, and I felt a deep sense of contentment watching all these people I loved together in one place. After dinner, Emma pulled me aside. I have something to tell you, she said, her eyes sparkling. I met someone. His name is James, and he's in my constitutional law class. And Mom, I think this might be serious. Tell me everything, I demanded, and she did, her face glowing as she described this young man who challenged her intellectually and made her laugh and seemed to understand her driven nature. Later that night, after everyone had left and Maya had gone to bed, I sat alone in my living room and thought about the strange path my life had taken. 20 years ago, I'd been handed a baby in a hospital room and told she was mine. I'd raised her, loved her, shaped her into an extraordinary young woman. And she was mine, regardless of what any DNA test said. But I'd also gained a second daughter, one who'd been mine all along, though I hadn't known it. Maya had brought creativity and gentleness into my life, had reminded me of dreams I'd put aside, had filled my house with stories and laughter. The hospital had mixed up our babies. It was a tragedy in many ways, but it had also created something unexpected and beautiful. 2 families intertwined. 2 daughters who were sisters in multiple senses of the word. A web of connection that wouldn't have existed otherwise. I thought about calling Emma or texting Maya in the next room, but instead I just sat there in the quiet, feeling grateful for every complicated piece of my strange, unexpected life. The years continued to unfold in ways I never could have predicted. Maya's novel was published to critical acclaim when she was 23. It was a story about identity and family and the lines that connect us. And I cried reading it because I recognized myself in the mother character, recognized all of us in its pages. Emma graduated from law school and got a prestigious job at a firm in New York. She moved there with James, who'd proposed to her in the law library where they'd first really talked. When they got married 2 years later, she asked me and Barbara to both walk her down the aisle, one on each side. "You both made me who I am," she said when she asked us. "I can't choose between you, and I shouldn't have to." The wedding was beautiful, chaotic, and full of love. Maya was Emma's maid of honor, and she gave a speech about growing up not knowing she had a sister, and then finding one in the most unexpected way. "Emma and I aren't related by blood," Maya said, her voice carrying across the reception hall. "But we're related by something stronger, by love, by choice, by the strange twist of fate that brought us together. She's my sister in every way that matters, and I'm so grateful I get to stand here today celebrating her happiness." I watched David crying in the back row, probably overwhelmed by all of it. The Sullivans sat at our table, and at some point during the reception, Thomas raised his glass to me. "To Patricia," he said, "for raising our daughter with such love and strength." "To Barbara and Thomas," I replied, "for raising mine with such warmth and wisdom." We clinked glasses, and I felt the last piece of resentment or jealousy or pain finally fall away. We were all just doing our best. We were all just loving the daughters we'd been given, in whatever form they came. Maya got married the following year to a gentle, quiet man named Daniel, who edited a literary journal and understood her need for solitude and creative space. Emma and James flew in from New York, and I helped Barbara coordinate the ceremony in the Sullivans' backyard. When Maya asked me to help her get ready, to zip up her dress and fix her veil, I felt 20 years of missed moments concentrate into that single perfect one. This was my daughter, my biological child, and I got to be here for her wedding day. "Thank you," Maya whispered as I adjusted her veil. "For everything. For giving me life, obviously, but also for welcoming me in when I showed up on your doorstep. For becoming my friend and my mother and my biggest supporter. Thank you for finding me," I whispered back. "For being brave enough to knock on that door." At the reception, Emma gave another speech, this one about Maya and their unexpected sisterhood. "I used to think my family was small," she said. "Just me and my mom, and occasionally my dad when he remembered we existed. Uncomfortable laughter from David's direction. But then Maya showed up, and suddenly my family doubled in size. I gained a sister, a second set of parents, and a whole new understanding of what family means. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who choose to love you, who show up for you, who become part of your story even when they weren't supposed to be. The crowd erupted in applause, and I saw Barbara crying happy tears across the table. Time continued its steady march. Emma and James had a baby girl they named Patricia May, after both me and Maya. When Emma called to tell me, I sobbed so hard she got worried. These are happy tears, I assured her through my crying. The happiest tears. Maya and Daniel had twin boys who were absolute terrors in the best possible way. I became Grandma Patty to all 3 children, and Barbara became Grandma Barb. And the kids grew up with twice the grandparents and never questioned why some of them didn't look related to each other. On Patricia May's 5th birthday, the whole extended family gathered at Emma's place in New York. I watched Emma and Maya chasing the 3 children around the apartment, saw them exchange the kind of knowing glances that only siblings can share, and felt overwhelmed by how much life had changed. Hard to believe it's been almost 15 years, Barbara said, coming to stand beside me with a glass of wine. Since Maya knocked on my door, I finished. Best and scariest day of my life. Mine too, Barbara agreed. When she came home and told us she'd found you, I was terrified we were going to lose her. But you didn't. No, Barbara smiled. We gained an extended family instead. Funny how that worked out. Emma approached us, holding Patricia May's hand. Okay, the birthday girl wants her grandmas to help her blow out the candles. Both sets. We gathered around the cake. Me, Barbara, Thomas, and even David, who'd come to his granddaughter's birthday, despite his discomfort with the family dynamics. The 4 grandparents and 2 mothers and 2 fathers and 3 grandchildren, all singing off-key while Patricia May made a wish, after the kids were in bed and most of the guests had left. Emma, Maya and I sat on Emma's balcony watching the New York skyline twinkle in the darkness. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if the hospital hadn't mixed us up? Emma asked, not for the first time over the years. It was a question we all returned to periodically, like a tongue probing a sore tooth. All the time, Maya admitted, but I can't imagine my life any other way now. My parents, the Sullivans, they're my parents. But so is Patricia. And you're my sister even though you're not. It's complicated, but it works. It does work, Emma agreed. Better than it probably should. I think about it too, I said. About the sliding doors of life, the moments that change everything. But I raised an amazing daughter. I looked at Emma. And I got to know another one. I looked at Maya. I didn't lose anything in the end. I gained. Sappy, Mom, Emma teased, but her eyes were wet. I'm old, I said. I'm allowed to be sappy. You're only 52, Maya protested. Ancient, I said, making them both laugh. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. 3 women connected by the strangest of circumstances, bound together by love and choice and the cosmic accident that had set this all in motion. My phone buzzed with a text from Barbara. Thank you for sharing Emma with us. And thank you for loving Maya. You're a remarkable mother. Both our girls are lucky to have you. I showed the text to Emma and Maya, and they both hugged me from either side. "She's right," Emma said. "We are lucky to have you." "I'm the lucky one," I replied, and meant it with every fiber of my being. Looking back now, from the vantage point of more than 20 years since Maya first knocked on my door, I can see how every moment led to this one. The mix-up at the hospital that seemed like such a catastrophe was actually the first step in expanding our family in ways we never could have imagined. Emma is a partner at her law firm now, arguing cases that make the news, making the world a little more just with every victory. Patricia May is showing signs of inheriting her mother's brilliant legal mind, though she's only 9. Maya's third novel just won a major literary award. She's become one of those writers who defines her generation, whose work explores family and identity with such nuance that readers see themselves in every page. Her twin boys are 7 now, and already showing signs of their mother's creativity, building elaborate imaginary worlds out of cardboard boxes and dreams. The Sullivans retired last year and spend their days traveling, visiting Emma in New York and Maya in Chicago, where she and Daniel moved for his work. They stop by my place in Columbus often, and we've become genuine friends, the kind of friendship that only shared experience can forge. David remarried and moved to California. He sees his granddaughter when he can, and he's made peace with the situation more or less. He'll never be fully comfortable with it, but he's trying, and that's enough. As for me, I finally wrote my own book. It took Maya's encouragement and years of false starts, but I did it. It's not a masterpiece like Maya's novels, but it's mine, and it tells the story of a woman who thought she knew who she was, until life showed her that identity is more fluid and complicated than she'd ever imagined. The book isn't fiction, though I changed the names. It's the story of the day a young woman knocked on my door and changed everything. It's about 2 families learning to become one, about daughters who were and weren't mine, about love that transcends biology. When it was published last year, I dedicated it to Emma and Maya both. To my daughters, the one I raised and the one I found. You both taught me that family is what we make it. The book didn't become a bestseller or win any awards, but Emma and Maya both cried when they read it, and Barbara wrote me a letter saying it captured our journey perfectly. That was worth more than any commercial success. Sometimes I still think about that day at the hospital 20 years ago now. I wonder if the nurse who mixed up the babies ever knew what she'd done, if she carried that guilt with her or remained blissfully ignorant. I've thought about trying to find out, but what would be the point? It happened. We survived it. We grew from it. Life is strange and unpredictable and full of moments that feel like disasters, but turn out to be doorways to something better. The hospital mixed up our babies, yes, but in doing so, they gave us something unexpected and precious, a bigger family, a deeper understanding of what it means to love, and a story that proved love is stronger than biology. I wouldn't change any of it now. Not the pain, not the confusion, not the complicated family gatherings or the moments of jealousy, or the years of missed memories, because all of it led me here, to this moment, where I get to be grandmother to 3, beautiful children and mother to 2, remarkable women and friend to the family who raised my biological daughter with such care. The Sullivans and I sometimes joke that we should write to the hospital and thank them for their mistake. We never do, of course, but in our hearts we mean it. So if you're watching this and you've ever wondered about identity, about what makes a family, about whether biology or love matters more, I'm here to tell you it's not an either-or question. It's both. It's everything in between. It's the messy, beautiful, complicated reality of human connection. And if you're someone who was adopted, or who found out late in life that your family story wasn't what you thought it was, or who's navigating any kind of non-traditional family structure, you're not alone. Family is what we make it. Family is who shows up. Family is love in all its complicated forms. Thank you for listening to my story. It's not the story I expected to have, but it's mine. And I'm grateful for every unexpected twist. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Every family has its own unique story, and I'd be honored if you'd share part of yours. And if you found something meaningful here, sharing this with someone who might need to hear it would mean the world to me. Sometimes the most important thing we can do is remind each other that we're not alone in our complicated, beautiful, messy lives.